And hello, everyone. We'll get started here in just another minute as people are logging on and getting ready for this evening. Thanks, Kyle. All right, everyone. Well, it's 7 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for the gift of your time this evening. My name is Dr. Amy Knopf, and I have the great pleasure of serving as the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women's chair this year. I'm a faculty member on campus where my role is the Associate Director of Bands and Director of Athletic Bands in our School of Music under the College of Arts and Science. And one of my roles is actually to direct Marching Mizzou, our marching band here at the university. But I'm so proud to be involved with Griffiths and to share more information with you about our organization here under the Mizzou Alumni Association. And I'm here with great colleagues that you'll meet as we move forward throughout our PowerPoint presentation. But as you are already doing, as I mentioned, as everyone is logging in, we welcome you and we invite you to jump in the chat with your name, where you're from, and of course, if you would like, to share when you graduated from Mizzou. And we always enjoy, seeing where everyone is logging in from. And again, the array of great, inspiring, and talented women that we have joining us here this evening. So thanks for those of you who are sharing this information. And again, as people are logging on, we'll continue to invite everyone to join us and share that bit of information. But thanks again for joining us this evening. We're so proud that you're considering becoming a member of our society, and that's where we're going to start right now, is just telling you more about, well, what is the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women? And it's important to know exactly who we are, what we represent, and how we serve our students here on campus with our collegiate members, but also how we continue to connect with our alumni across the United States and also the world as well. So as you can see here on this next slide, here's our outline purpose. And as you will read, that this specific society for women is a catalyst for connections. And this is something that we value greatly here in our society. And we work to make those connections among diverse and distinguished Mizzou student leaders that we have on campus, and of course, our alumni. And through these lifelong learning, leadership development, and mentoring members, we stimulate their own potential and that of other women here at Mizzou, while also supporting, best interests and traditions here of Missouri's flagship university. But one of the great things, and I'll speak personally here for a second, that I get out of the society is, again, the connections and the inspiration. We have such talented women in the society that I learn from every time that we have an event and we have the opportunity to come together. I always leave feeling incredibly inspired by the women that are in the society. And this is both on our alumni side, but also from our great students that are on this campus. And again, our collegiate members who give so much to our university as well as the society. And one of the best thing is we get to connect with these great students through, again, the mentoring program that we have here with Griffiths, and we help set them up for success because, as we all know, we were once in their shoes on this campus. So we'll move forward next with just an introduction to, well, who is Martha Wrights Griffiths? And whenever we go through this and share this information, I always am inspired, even by just identifying with and learning more about Martha. And I always leave this discussion just being even more connected to the society. So right from the top of the slide there, one of, Martha's great quotes is, all I want is to be human and American and have all the same rights. And I'll shut up. And absolutely, definitely want that on all the bumper stickers. But that's exactly who we have here as our namesake, as the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women. And as you see here in the outline of high points of her career is, of course, attending the University of Missouri. We're so proud to have her as one of our alumni members. But there's that BA in economics, in 1934. And then moved on to the University of Michigan, where she earned her law degree in 1940, and then served for 2 terms in the Michigan House of Representatives. And this specifically is inspiring in itself, being the first, and as many of you have potentially experienced, you may be the first in your own line of work and have been the first. And certainly Martha was the first here, first woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1954, the first woman on the Ways and Means Committee. And then next is that mother of the ERA, where insisting on sexual discrimination be included in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, just insisting on that. And then introducing that ERA legislation every single year and look at that span from 1955 to 1970. And then finally, that last moment of this timeline that we have for you tonight is being the first female Michigan lieutenant governor there from 1982 to 1990. So personally, I always love being reminded of Martha, of what she gave in her profession and how she truly led in her profession. And again, that's why it's additionally deeply meaningful for her to be the namesake of the society and be at the heart of what we continue to do here at the University of Missouri and carry on her legacy and her name. And then moving on next, a little bit more about our history of this society. And for me, and I didn't put this in the chat, but I will when I get a moment, but I graduated from the University of Missouri in December of 2001 with my Bachelor of Science in Music Education, because obviously, here I am, a professor in our School of Music, teaching marching band, and teaching in our music education curriculum. So I'm proud to be back home here at the University of Missouri. But this, unfortunately, was something that wasn't going yet through our Mizzou Alumni Association. But it was first founded, as you can read there, in 2005. And the first conference, and those are the hallmarks of our society, is to have our fall conference and then one in the spring. And this first conference that they had here at the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women was held in September of 2005. And then secondly, this was actually modeled after similar organizations. And one that is the closest to us is the University of Nebraska. And it's additional special item here of the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women is that we're one of the few of this kind. But again, the University of Nebraska is one that we're mostly closely modeled after. And in its first year, there were 90 members of the society, and we're proud that it has grown, since 2005 to over, 200 members. And we're proud of that growth, both again on our alumni side, in addition to, again, our collegiate members that, of course, once they graduate, that we hope and many do remain with us. So then they can give back to those collegiate members as our graduates are giving and have given back to them. So moving on here, we have, and that's why I know a lot of you are here, is to talk about, well, how do you join our Griffiths Leadership Society for Women? And so I'm going to pass it over to one of my great colleagues here on the executive committee, who is one of our membership co-chairs for the Griffiths Leadership Society for Women. So Cheryl, if you would, take it over and talk to everyone more about how they can join our society.
Of course. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Jordan, and I am a graduate of the university in 1984 with a BA in psychology with a minor in accounting and finance. And as Amy said, Griffiths was not here on campus when I went to the university, and I'm now a member. And I can tell you, it is one of the best organizations, the best group that I have been a part of. Growth, learning, diversity. It's a great group. And I'm proud to be one of the co-chairs of membership along with Doris Agwu. She was not able to be with us this evening, but we're very excited that you took the time to join us. And I will go over the eligibility because I'm sure that it was a burning question. What must you do? And I won't, I can show you the slide. I won't read to you, but I will highlight that you must have a significant affiliation with the University of Missouri, alumni, Mizzou faculty or staff, be a current member of the Mizzou Alumni Association. And as you can read, it's not required at the time of your application, but it is expected upon selection to Griffiths. It is a auxiliary group of MAA. So once you are apply, and if you're not a member of MAA, then you would be required to join the MAA associate or the Mizzou Alumni Association. Be dedicated and a committed contributor to your career field or field of interest. Like I said, I have a BA in psychology, and we all kind of divert and go different paths. And now I work in pharmacy, and I am very involved with my pharmacy. I do use my psychology because I deal with the elderly on Medicare. So if anybody knows about Medicare and the elderly, you do have to use a psych degree sometimes to deal with our elders and to assist them through the process of retiring and going to the Medicare side of their benefits. Next slide for me, Kyle. Participation, attending our conferences. As Amy said, there are two conferences, one in the fall and one in the spring. I will tell you, we were anticipating being in person for the fall conference, which is scheduled for October 29th and 30th, but we were advised that we will have to pivot and go back virtually. So we're kind of a little bummed about that, but we had our conference last year virtually, and it turned out excellent. So we know with the dynamic speakers and dynamic contributors to our conference, it will be just as explosive as it was last year, even though we're still in a virtual environment. We are, however, holding our breath and praying that March of 2022, we will be back on campus for our in-person spring conference. I want to tell you, there's a lot of dynamic speakers, a lot of dynamic information, and we use you as our, you bring to the table as well. So we are looking forward to our in virtual conference in October and our in-person conference in the spring. We want you to actively participate in our mentoring and professional development. We have activities each year. We have book club. We have a lot of different committees that are working to bring us exciting things to keep us engaged. Our mentoring network, and we have regional happy hours, St. Louis, Kansas City. And if they don't have one in your area, then you could join and you could start one. So it's an opportunity to bring women together from Mizzou who may have disconnected, come back and be in your area. So it's a great opportunity. I went to my first regional happy hour, and that's what solidified me joining Griffiths, because I got to learn and meet women who were part of it for years when it first started, who had the privilege and the pleasure to meet Martha. So it is so exciting. So we hope that you will take from tonight and you want to be burning to join us. Next slide, please. The cost. Now I'm going to get to the dollars and cents because I know that's the question. For 2021, 2022, it is $100 for all alumni members, with in-person conference fees of $75 for regular alumni members and $50 for recent graduate members. So in addition to your the $100 dues, there is the $75 conference fee, and that does include things. So you might ask the question, well, what does that include? It does include materials. It includes, if we get in person, we get a meal. Virtually, you might have to do your own meal, but inclusive of food. So when I went to my first conference, it was very well laid out with our menu, great choices for lunch and breakfast and snacks and things. So that's our fees, and that's what we're looking for our dues. So if you want to, again, it's $100 for all alumni members, and then $50 for recent, with the fees of $175 for alumni conference and $50 for recent graduate members. That's alumni. Next slide. The collegiate members. It is open to juniors, seniors, or graduate professional students. The application process is in the early fall, so we're getting into it now. After this evening, you'll get more information. The applicants are evaluated based on academic standing, service to the university and the community at large, their leadership abilities, with the end goal of being cultivation of your diverse, well-rounded well-rounded group of women. Now the collegiate dues are $25. That's a good price, $25 collegiate members. You can nominate a collegian at www. You can see that, I'm not going to read that because everybody can read here, but you can see how to nominate a collegiate member. If you do need that link, it is right there for you. So we do want you to nominate collegiate members. And again, the cost is $25. Next slide for me. And I have any alumni membership testimonials. Is it anyone on the executive committee or a member of Griffiths? Give you a couple seconds to jump in and say, give your testimonial for our interested women, that you can say what Griffiths has meant to you and why you're a part and why you're going to continue to be a part.
Cheryl, I can speak to that.
Okay, Joanna, thank you.
So my name is Joanna Russell Bliss. I'm our president-elect for this upcoming year. And I have been a member of Griffiths for 10 years now. I was brought in by Ann Deaton, who was one of the women that really started getting Griffiths going in 2005. And I have found it to be an incredibly empowering organization. I think the biggest thing that I take out of it from these in-person conferences is that I feel so excited and inspired when I walk out of the room in Columbia. It's only 24 hours. It's a Friday night and a Saturday morning into the early afternoon. And yet I feel like I can take on the world every time I walk out. It's just an incredible way to reconnect with Mizzou, and particularly as somebody who has moved around a great deal. I've lived in 8 different cities. I'm in Dallas, Texas now. And it doesn't matter where I'm living at the time, Mizzou is always home. And it's always great to come home and be back on campus and to see the columns and to connect with fellow Mizzou Tigers. So it's just a great organization. And of course, I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Joanna. We'll take one more person on the executive committee. And just so you all know, I'm in St. Louis. So anybody in St. Louis, if we have our regional happy hours, I look forward to seeing you.
I can talk, Carol, if you'd like. Cheryl, sorry.
Sure,
It's
Janet.
Janet. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I joined BSHE 1977, for heaven's sake. One of my college roommates asked me to join a number of years ago, and I hadn't really been connected with the university for a good 20 years. Busy kids, career, everything that I know we all deal with. And very much like Joanna, I just immediately felt such a connection. It was so much fun to be back on campus and see the university and listen to these great speakers. But what really inspired me were the collegians. My mentee was amazing. You see these incredible women who are the next generation of Mizzou alumni, and I just enjoyed, and I got so much out of that. I am on the executive committee. I'm the past chair, so I was chair last year. I had the virtual year, and I will say, it is disappointing that we have to go virtually, but I don't think you'll be disappointed in the content. However, I also sincerely hope that we're able to be together in the spring, but you will not be disappointed by the relationships you'll form, the people you'll meet, the speakers you'll hear, and just that reconnection to Mizzou.
Thank you, Janet. So as you can see, we all, again, I got an email and I was like, I've never heard of this, but I'm going to see what it's about. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It is connection. It is diverse. Doris is in Kansas City. She graduated in like 08. And to me, I was like, 08, okay. So, and coming in at 84, but the connection, we're all MIZ ZOU. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. Again, the committees that work to put our conferences together, they're pivoting to give us virtual, but I can say last year, our virtual conference was amazing. We touched the mind, the body, the soul, and we all do different things. So we come at it at an angle that we are women striving to be great leaders, be home, take care of our homes, take care of our families. I had to pivot and begin being a caregiver. So you learn how to adapt and adjust, but still be able to connect with women who understand, who are compassionate, caring, and will help you get through any hurdle you may be facing. Because I will tell you, to face a hurdle with somebody else, if you get to it and can't get over, and for somebody to lift you over and help you over, it is a great feeling. So that is what I've gained from Griffiths, that push to help me be greater than I was the day before, and to be greater and to help someone else as we help each other, because we all are women and we all deal with different things. So with that, I hope you will join us. We love to have you, new ideas, fresh ideas, because we all bring something. I always liken it that we can bring a glass of marbles and somebody may put the blue marbles and they're beautiful, and then somebody puts the pink marbles and somebody puts another color marbles. And at the end of the day, we have a beautiful array of colorful marbles with different ideas. So I hope you will join us, and thank you again for joining. Amy, I can turn it back over to you now.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cheryl. And now everyone knows exactly why Cheryl is on our membership committee. Thank you for sharing your perspective and your passion for Griffiths and your just spirit and the truth, everything that Cheryl said. That is why we are on the executive committee and why we serve this society, and why we all want you to join us, in this society and this mission. And now at this point in the evening, we're going to help you with any questions that you may have. And so Joanna is going to lead this portion of our time tonight. So Joanna, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, I guess as you all are used to, I am sure by now, just raise your hand or put a question in the chat. What do you want to know about Griffiths? So I see that someone has asked more about what we do and the types of programs. So maybe Amy, if you could give some examples of past programming, what we've offered at some of the past conferences.
Sure, absolutely. I think, well, one of the most recent successful, and you were so instrumental in this, is the book club that we started this past year with Griffiths. So I thought that was really deeply meaningful, to us. And again, when now that we're back on, Zoom was introduced to our lives, if you will, and it was a great, quick way for us to get together. So that was one of the a great pieces of program that we did for our members, both on the collegiate side and the alumni side.
Yeah, and then the conference often will bring in Mizzou alumni, Mizzou people who are very successful in Missouri, and they will speak to what they've experienced in their career, what has helped them be successful, ways that we can improve our own success in our careers or make that next leap to the next step in our careers. I see that Catherine Hanley has asked whether the members are primarily in the Midwest or if it's national. We are indeed a national organization. I can speak to that, having been a member from New York and Atlanta and DC and Dallas. We all come back to campus or join. We do have virtual, even when we are not planning a virtual conference, we do have virtual webinars throughout the years. So if you can't make it back to campus, there are ways to join events virtually as well. The book club, for example, was also held virtually last year, and that hasn't been decided yet, whether that will be a regional event or a virtual one. It might be both, we're not sure. But yes, last year we read Girl, Woman, Other, and I had the fortune of being able to lead a lot of that. I just finished library school. So this has been something that has tied back to my literature degree at Mizzou and my current work as a librarian. Azima Akram has asked about mentorship. If somebody would like to speak a little bit more about mentoring, because Sarah Nally Federick has also asked what the mentoring entails. So would somebody else like to talk about that? Janet?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Oh, Janet, you went mute.
You fell back on mute there, Janet.
Got it. Sorry. I'm dealing with some primitive technology here. No, really, mentorship has been one of the primary programs that Griffiths has initiated from the very beginning. And we believe so strongly in it. In the early days, in fact, when I first started, we actually were pairing our collegians and our alumni up kind of by hand and just letting you know who your partner was. And then, of course, giving guidance and how to conduct that mentorship relationship. We have gotten more sophisticated. We use the Mizzou mentoring program, but the cool thing is we have our own instance of it, so that once you become a member, you're able to fill in your online profile. The collegians can fill them in too, and then they're able to actually read our backgrounds, our profiles, our likes, dislikes, and then actually ask to be a mentee. Obviously not every person who joins Griffiths wants to be in that kind of a relationship, but I really feel like it is central to what we do, especially as alumni members. Anytime we can assist someone who's about to go into the world, it's just so gratifying and really good on both sides. You will obviously get as much as you give. So that is really one of the most important things we do in my mind. And if anyone has anything to add, please do. Okay.
Thanks, Janet. And I do want to add, somebody was asking what fields we have members from. We have them in all types of fields. We have people in business, people in academia, people in education. Unsurprisingly, journalists are a part of our membership, both freelance and working for a variety of publications and news organizations. And somebody was also asking how old, how many years of experience you would want. We like to have a range. We love having students be a part of the organization. We love having fresh grads be a part of the organization. And we love having people who are further along in their career, because honestly, I think we all grow as we continue in our career. And what I was getting out of this 10 years ago, when I first joined the organization, is very different than what I'm getting now, 10 years later. So I don't think anybody needs to be worried about, oh, well, I'm a fresh grad, I haven't accomplished enough. I think part of this organization is to help everybody grow where they are currently. So it's not necessarily that you've had to accomplish something in your career. That's why we have such a range. And we like having that range, because we learn from the students and from our fresh grads just as much as they learn from those of us that are a little further out from our graduation years.
Joanna, if I can add, I see Debbie asked about being retired and wishes she had known about this earlier. I'm retired, happily retired, and still get so much out of this organization, and hopefully I'm able to give back as well. When I started, I was still in my career, but you absolutely can be retired, and in many ways it's even better because hopefully we have more time. So I just thought I'd make you feel welcome as a retiree myself.
Yes, this is proper membership, and I was going to see Debbie and say, Debbie, experience. One of the things with Griffiths is experience, and the experience that you had working. I'm trying to retire in 3 years, so you may have some help for those of us who are at that cusp of retiring. What you learn, what to do, what not to do. So as Janet said, we want to make everyone feel welcome. So please know that being retired brings another level of experience.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I have another question for you. Ashley Reese would like to know what the organization is seeking in an ideal candidate.
Someone with compassion, someone with ideas to help us grow, someone who may think out of the box, someone who may have ideas that none of us have imagined, because last year with COVID, none of us imagined that we would be Zoom zombies a year later. So whatever you can bring to the table to help us grow, we have so much. There's no set thing, because like I said, everyone has something to contribute. Some of us have walked in shoes that none of us may never have to walk in, but some of us may be at that point. So we're looking for people that have a compassion, that have a love for the university, that look at our ideas and just want to be a part of a group of women that are growing in our minds, our bodies, and our spirits, looking for fresh ideas. Like I said, we have no cap on what we're looking for. We just want a group of who can come and contribute and help us to be the best group that we can be. Hope you heard. Did I go off mute? That be the best group that we can be.
We heard you, Cheryl. Thank you. And I don't know that we ever have, Chantel Evans is asking about how many new members we're looking to bring on this time around. I don't know that we ever have a set number. Cheryl or Amy, do you know more about that as far as how many people we accept out of the applications?
We definitely have that goal of 150 of our collegiate members each year to process through and hopefully allow for them to join our organization.
Thank you, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm flipping back and forth trying to make sure
you're doing a great job.
that I get everybody's questions.
Yeah.
And a shout out to Lauren Hickey, who is also working at a library. So there are some of us. Let's see. Catherine Handley would like to know if there are members at the C-suite, VP, executive level, or more early mid-career, like director or manager level. Like what's the spread that we have in terms of types of members? And then I believe you already answered this, Amy. She's also asking how many members there are in the network. So I think our max is 300, right? It's 150 students and 150 alumni.
Right. That's always our goal each year, is to have about 150 on each side.
And then Cindy is asking about, do we have many business owners as members? I know that we have emphasized entrepreneurship in the past because a lot of those skills apply to people within large organizations, as well as those of us that are independent business owners. I myself am a freelancer. I've been working on my own since 2008 and only returned to the academic world 2 years ago. So, and I got a lot out of that. And I think as a freelancer myself, it was great to be able to connect with other business women. Debbie would like to know the time commitments that is expected. Janet, would you want to talk to that?
Certainly, I'm happy to. You can spend as much time as you wish. Really, as a member, I would say the biggest commitment is if one of the collegians asks you to be a mentor. That will take a little bit more time, but obviously the two of you work out how much time you can devote to it. It still is not excessive, probably touching base once or twice a month. So I don't want to make that sound large. Otherwise you are basically attending 2 conferences a year, and then the activities that you would engage in, like the book club and happy hours and other activities. There will be some webinars in between but those are all at your choice and certainly to fit around your schedule. Now, if you're really interested in taking that next level, you can join some of the committees that the executive team sponsors. We've got membership, which because of Cheryl here and Doris. We've got special activities, communications. Let's see, what am I missing? There's one more, right? Anyway, there are 5.
Yeah, awards and recognition.
That's it, awards and recognition.
Yeah.
So you could be on a committee and at some point in the future, possibly be one of the co-chairs, but which all requires a little bit more time. So I would say how much time you devote to this is really up to you, but it's not by any means unmanageable.
Thank you, Janet. Adrian Bain is also asking, is the society demographically diverse? That is something that we continually strive to broaden our diversity in our organization. We want Griffiths to represent all of the students at Mizzou, and that's something that Cheryl and Doris are working very hard at to make sure that we do truly reflect everyone at Mizzou and help all women achieve. Would there be anything you'd want to add to that, Cheryl?
Yes, I would. And I wanted to let her, I saw that question. And yes, I am one who is looking, that's one of the reasons I joined, because of the diverse nature of the organization. And I wanted to share that the book that we read, Amy, it was Girl, Woman, Other, I believe it was. Doris picked that book, and that book dealt with diversity in all areas. So the book enlightens, if it's, to people, to what they may not have thought about after they read the book. Minds were opened to a lot of different cultures and a lot of different things. So Doris and I strive for the diversity on the membership committee. So Adrian, yes, I joined this organization, and I can say I have learned from women who are C-suite executives. I've learned from young collegians. I had a mentee coming fresh out of the gate, psych major, who, and diverse, but the diverse culture, yes, because what you bring opens eyes to things none of us may not see. But I can say that book that we read, Doris selected that book, and it was amazing to bring the diverse culture from all over to this organization. And I'll be honest, if it wasn't a diverse culture, I probably would not still be a part. And that's one of the things I love about the organization, is that you do learn from different people. You do learn from different walks of life. You do have the opportunity to present your walk of life, and everyone appreciates it and accepts it. And it's always at the top of the radar. Amy does a great job, and the rest of the executive committee, with the planning that women from all cultures are given an opportunity to speak and be heard, and no closed minds are part of this organization. So I will say that is one of the things I wanted to answer your question, that yes, this group And if, to be a part of it, if you have a diverse culture that you want to present, it will be accepted. And we can teach and learn other people about different cultures and different perspectives. And that has helped me grow even in my job, how to deal on my job with diverse from this group of women. I will tell you, I'm undergoing a health concern, and the love that we give to each other for the walks of life that we have and the things that all of us may not have to deal with that other people deal with, it gives you that sense of compassion and care. So I know I'm a little long-winded on that, but that is something I am very passionate about: diversity, learning, growing different cultures, open-mindedness. It's mental, if it's physical, if it's cultural, this group accepts it and embraces it.
It's gonna make me cry, Cheryl. I'm not supposed to cry on a Zoom call. Sarah Nally Frederick is asking if there's a listing of members. I don't believe that we have an openly, I believe it's something that we circulate once people join. Amy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. And I think honestly, a good source is just look at our Facebook page, the membership in our Facebook page, online. And you can see, some, of course, but prior members, current members, at least anyone who's definitely been connected to us. One of our new members of our team is Kyle Mousy, who works in our Mizzou Alumni Association. She's kind of in the background, but shout out there to Kyle. And maybe you wanted to speak to that, Kyle, specifically about what the MAA may host, if you will, in terms of a membership listing.
Yeah, so I'm in like my 4th week and getting into Griffiths stuff. So I don't know if you all still use LinkedIn, but I know we used to use LinkedIn kind of as a membership directory. So there is a Griffiths page on LinkedIn, and that has all of our members. I don't know if that is open unless you're in it. I don't know if Exec remembers that, but I know that's really a good source. And we said, we need a directory, we need to do this. And LinkedIn was the best thing that worked for us then. It could definitely be something if there's other things out there that work better for directories, something we could look at. But I think LinkedIn and Facebook are really good places to look to see our members currently.
Okay, I think I have gotten all of the questions that were put into the chat. Does anyone
Covered
have
a lot.
any other questions for us about the organization?
And certainly if you do have additional questions, after this, don't hesitate to ask. So thank you, Joanna, for facilitating all of that. And I think we did cover every question that was either put in the chat, and from what I could see, anyone else that had their hand raised. So we appreciate your time and work through those different questions, because we want to make sure that your questions are answered as you learn more about us. And now we'll pass it over back to Janet, our past chair of Griffiths Leadership Society, to talk to you more about our deadlines coming up.
Yes,
So,
I'll be brief, ladies, because we've given you a lot of information, but as you can see on this slide, apply by September 30th. So it is coming up. Obviously, we have the conference coming at the end of October, so it is important for us to get our membership settled before then. And if you have any questions, please email us. You can see the email address right there. We will respond, well, probably Kyle, but right away to answer any of your questions that you may think of after the call. But we would love to have you join us. I think you'll find it incredibly fulfilling, as you've heard earlier. And that's really all I'm going to say. I just hope to meet all of you virtually at first, and then in person, we hope in March. And I will turn it back to Amy to wrap us up.
You got it. And then I just saw that one more question, the timing of the fall conference. It'll be obviously after work on Friday, and then into Friday evening, and of course during the day on that Saturday. It's when we typically try to keep our conferences to that timeline, but we'll have more information soon available for everyone. about that fall conference. And as we transition here to the final slide, it's just a simple thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again for the gift of your time tonight. And one final throwback to Kyle, if there's anything else from the MAA side, I know you're putting in the chat, where to direct people for additional questions, but anything else from your side before we officially wrap up?
Yeah, I'll just end by saying that whenever I first came to MAA, I was fortunate enough to be able to work with Griffiths. So that was like 8.5 years ago. And then I moved into a different role after being here about 3 years, and now I'm back in with Griffiths. And it was something that whenever I got this new role, I was like, I want to work with Griffiths because it truly is such a cool, empowering program. I mean, like the women on exec said, you go to those conferences and you just leave and you have new friends and you feel so empowered and you've heard from such cool alumni and you make these connections that you would have never made otherwise. And so like I feel so lucky and fortunate to be working with all of you all again. And it is such a neat program to be a part of. So I hope you all really enjoyed today and really think about getting connected with Griffiths in the future. And thank you so much for everyone who came. Thank you to exec for hosting this. I think this was really awesome and just feel lucky to work with you all.
Absolutely. Well, we are fortunate, Kyle, very much. So on behalf of my colleagues on the executive committee who are here with us tonight, thank you again so much for joining us. And we hope to see you again very soon. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.